We did not come here to thank you just because we were very happy yesterday. The management committee and I would like to thank you for your energy. And thank you to Joshua. Thank you to the CO team. We are going to ask him a few questions. The first question, who is Mr. Tiunov? Who is Viktor?
My name is Viktor Tiunov. I am the founder of the ELECTROATOM project and the CEO of the company ELECTROATOM. I am married, here is my wife, and we have 2 children. I have been involved in science and alternative energy sources for a long time.
Thank you, thank you. Now for the next question. What is the difference between ELECTROATOM, ELECTROATOM, and tribal energy, tribal technology?
ELECTROATOM is the name of the project, but we need to start with tribal technology, which developed the technology for autonomous electricity generation. So how can this company bring its technology to the international market? To launch the technology internationally, you need money, a significant amount of money. That's why tribal technology turned to the investment company ELECTROATOM. Tribal Technology and ELECTROATOM signed an agreement, and the investment company ELECTROATOM is developing the ELECTROATOM project at the initiative of Tribal Technology.
What about technology?
I am the founder of Tribal Technology. When Rybnikov passed away, the technology remained with me. I know Sergei Semenov, and that's why I decided to follow his path. I had the technology and the company, but I didn't have an investment company. So I had to organize an investment company and create a platform for crowd investing. And now here we all are, sitting together.
The house is next. What stages of development and financing does the project include? And how much money do we need to implement the project?
There are 15 stages of financing, just as we discussed. Today, the 3rd stage of financing has already begun. We have already raised funds for the generator. We needed $150,000. We raised a bit more, yes, $200,000. We collected this money, developed the technology, and held the first international conference here with these funds. Now we need construction. Yes, first and foremost, the facility itself, and then further refinement to reach true industrial standards so that we can successfully bring the generator to the industrial stage and begin mass production. We need to perfect it, refine it just a bit more. Next, we need approximately $90 million in total to build 3 separate facilities. This is the next stage. Construction.
Well, let's move on to the next question. In which jurisdiction is the company registered and what advantages does it offer?
ELECTROATOM is registered in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's an offshore zone. What is the advantage? Here it is. All $200,000 that we raised, we didn't pay any taxes on them. They all went into the project. And if we had done this under Russian law, we would have had to give 90% to the state. 3B Technology is registered in Russia, but the company that raises the funds is 3B Technology. And 3B Technology only makes equipment purchases. That's why 3B Technology also doesn't pay taxes on this money. On the contrary, it even receives certain benefits because of this. So this is the best option for us.
What will happen after the funding? Are you planning to go public?
Yes, we are planning an IPO. Of course. Absolutely, that's a must. There's simply no way around it. This is a mixed camp. In order for us to go public, we need to have production up and running, meaning we need to be manufacturing products and selling them.
When will you start receiving dividends? What kind?
We will only start receiving dividends after the enterprise is up and running. Once the enterprises are operational, once there are shares, when 3B Technology transitions from an LLC to a public joint stock company, a Russian joint stock company. This is a company that can issue shares. And these investment shares that exist now will be exchanged for the shares that the company will issue. Therefore, the more shares people have today who are participating in the project, the more company shares they will receive. And the more shares you have, the more dividends you will get. When will you start receiving dividends? To program you in any normal way. Yes, it doesn't rain to pay the most beautiful users. The beginning of 2031, at the beginning. In 2027, by 2027, we need to complete the construction of the plant in Russia. Then we will be able to launch the production cycle and start selling power plants. And by 2030, we should already have branches built in India and Africa, yes, so that the group of companies can start operating.
When will you start receiving the profits will be generated? Do we have to wait until 2031 to start paying dividends?
We need to launch everything, the entire holding, so that it starts operating. Look, do you know why? I'll explain why. Yes, look, as soon as the first power plant ends up in someone's hands, as soon as someone acquires it, whether it's a company or a private investor, a copy of it will immediately appear. The very next day, a copy will show up in China or somewhere else. That's why it's very important for us to have a stock of power plants already prepared so that we can sell them and people don't have to wait for us to manufacture them, so that we have them ready and can sell them right away. Otherwise, it could happen that we sell a power plant, someone else makes it, and they start selling it faster than we do. Yes, they absolutely don't care whether we have a patent or not. They'll just copy it and sell it. Thank you all. If we had a patent, there would be a high risk that the technology would leak while it's still in the patenting process. Let me tell you a little story. Einstein worked as a clerk in the patent office, and that's where most of the inventions that he supposedly invented came from. In reality, people would bring these inventions in and he would take them, claim them as his own, and present them as his own inventions. This is no longer a secret, and nothing has changed there since then. That's why we need to be very careful with our technology. Patents should be left as the very last option. And Yuri Stepanovich Rybnikov always told me that you should patent in such a way that you don't reveal the technology. And to patent the technology like that, you need to know the legal framework. And right now, we are working through these legal frameworks so that we can start the patenting process, but in such a way that the technology is not disclosed.
What percentage we rely on the demasseurs?
If the company earns $10 billion, then 50% goes to the development of the company, and 50% goes to the payment of dividends. So 10 billion comes in, 50% goes back into the company, and 50% is for dividends. It's basically 50-50, but here, well, it's just so they understand exactly how the money is distributed. So if 10 billion comes in, 50% goes to the development of the company, and we plan to allocate the other 50% for dividend payments. Okay, now, is it in this country where it is deserved? Every 6 months, is it in this country where it is deserved? Once a year. First, apart from the project and the tomb or the honey in the east, electrode, at the beginning, we made projects, but we couldn't carry them out. Yes, we will do it, but we need to finish this project first, and then we will move forward. ELECTROATOM is a big project that, well, requires a lot of effort, time, and a large team. After this project is completed, ELECTROATOM, the company ELECTROATOM as an investment company, will remain. This company already has a team, and with this team, it will be possible to develop other subsequent projects. So what is his message to the investors so that we can be even more reassured? There is already a power plant now. It was meticulously assembled over the course of 1970 to 2025, and it was completed thanks to you. Thanks to the money that came from Africa, and this money was attracted by you. It was your efforts. I built the power plant. Now we are going to showcase it. We will connect it now. I will come. We have a plan. Yes, that we will. Now we will pack it into a container and connect it to a private house. And we will make a lot of videos about the operation of the power plant because it's very easy to do now. It already exists, and this will help attract more investment. I think only technology can attract investment. Along the way, if it happens that he secures other funding, whether from a government, a private company, or a large organization that decides to buy stages or even or even the entire amount we need to implement the project, there is will it happen? Will they let us continue, please? An offer from the Arabs to buy out the entire ELECTROATOM project. In other words, there is a venture investor, they are inviting us to come to them and sign a contract for the sale of the technology. But we won't go for that because we're already on the path of crowd investing, because there are already 6,000 people involved in the project. 6,000. We can't just take them and leave them with nothing. 6 months. Uber, 4 months old. We can't sell the technology because then all of you and all 6,000 people would be left with nothing. And we will never agree to that. I believe that we will do it ourselves and we will be our own masters. But if we have a venture investor, then they will be the master. So let them invest money in the project.